Okay, so nobody knows me. I don't really care. But I'm just going to voice my opinion on something that's truly upsetting. Like, I never really voiced my opinion on much, but I'm going to do it. I'm doing it from my phone. I'm also at work, so forgive. But it's about the Trisha Paytas, however you say her last name, um, now has dissociative identity disorder. Bull. Because that's what it is. It's bull. That's all it is. And I can't say that I have dissociative identity disorder, but I do have a pretty severe personality disorder. I have a borderline personality disorder, which is nowhere near the same, but it is taxing on 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 anybody that has been diagnosed or even undiagnosed. It's just taxing to have a personality disorder of any type. It's taxing to have any type of mental health problems. And I'm infuriated at the fact that she now all of a sudden has self-diagnosed, not even gotten a proper diagnosis um, of this dissociative identity disorder, or, the more common terminology of multiple personality disorder. Now, she's been on the platform for years and years and years, right? She's like an OG YouTuber that all of a sudden is now showing these symptoms of d.i.d. And, is claiming that people around her know of this, even though she's not diagnosed. Now, not saying, disclaimer, not saying that she doesn't have it, although personally, through my experience and through people I know and the research that I have done, she is not symptomatic of d.i.d. She to me seems like she didn't get enough attention as a child, um, and is just striving and almost, obsessive about having the spotlight on her constantly. Because in the last, few years, she's said she's black. And, she's gotten her clout from that minority. And it's just outrageous. And then, she's trans all of a sudden. And she identifies as a chicken nugget. And now she has d.i.d. Now, what's infuriating is that people spend years. Secondly, another thing that's infuriating is that she called this woman, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's I believe she's from the UK, and she has d.i.d, the dissociative identity disorder. She called her crazy. And that, as somebody coming from me that has been called crazy a long time, because borderline personality disorder has a lot of violent, and I don't mean like hitting and punching and, physical violence, but it has really violent mood swings. And just can, I guess you could classify it as the person will look crazy. I was called crazy a long time. I spent years trying to figure out what was wrong with me because I knew something was wrong. I went years with, family hiding it from me, because at the time of my diagnosis, and I was actually really young when I was diagnosed, which is very unheard of, but my case of it was so severe that they, it wasn't an immediate thing. But, doctors going through my medical history and, evaluating me came to the conclusion that I had this personality disorder. And I wasn't told until I was like 19. Because at the time there was no treatment for it. So my mother found no purpose or point in telling me that I had this personality disorder, because, whatever, it's not like it's my business, right? But I spent years and years trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I was called crazy and, you know, made fun of because of it. And I could only imagine how hard it is for somebody with d.i.d. or any personality disorder, or like disorders in general, to come to this conclusion, to get their diagnosis. And it's not like it's a relief when you finally get it, but it is, because you know that you're not crazy and that there's just something wrong with you, and that, you know, you finally have a name to the beast that's been at, you know, making your life hell. And to marginalize and make a mockery of these groups is just disgusting. And I don't mean just, you know, this recent d.i.d. thing with her. I mean in general. Like, she's just made a mockery of many minorities and groups because she gets views for it. She gets attention for it because it's so outrageous. And I used to be a fan of Trisha Paytas, like back way when she was still doing like stripper diaries and makeup and, you know, funny things. I used to think she had a pretty cool, kind of funny personality. I thought she was, you know, she's just interesting to watch. I got a lot of entertainment value from her because she was very different. But over the years, I've noticed this just disgusting toxicity with her where she just does these absurd things to get attention. And it's sad because it not only puts false information out there, but this whole idea of you can self-diagnose a severe personality disorder or mental disorder on your own without any type of physician or professional getting involved is bad. It's just bad. Like, I also had cancer, and I wasn't self-diagnosing. I went to my doctors. That's what you do when something's wrong. You go to your doctors. Because you know why? Because they're the professional. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And they're there to help you. Now, without a physician's referral or a physician's help and aid, you're not going to get treatment. You don't know what you're doing because you're not the professional. It like I said, it took me years to finally figure out what's going on with me. Not only because my mom finally told me, but because, you know, I was having these outrageous mental breakdowns, and I've struggled with depression my entire life, and, you know, nobody's life's perfect. I can't say my childhood was grand or fun, but it was no reason for me to be as depressed as I was. And, you know, they diagnosed me with ADHD and then bipolar disorder and what was the other one? Major depressive disorder. Sorry for saying so much, but I am kind of just doing this on the fly just because it's been on my mind for a while. And not to say that a lot of people aren't speaking out, but it's a lot of more well-known channels and influencers that are, you know, speaking out. So I'm going to put it out there as a random person that's just, you know, a spectator, that this was highly offensive to me. And I'm not even, you know, I don't have d.i.d. But the fact that she makes a mockery of it is just disgusting. And I'm so disappointed. Because that's not, you know, she seems to be the person that thinks all attention is good attention, be it bad or good, as long as it's attention. And, you know, it seems to be working for her to a point. I think this last snafu is going to be a downfall for her. But it's just so horrendous that I cannot be quiet. I refuse to be quiet because, you know, as I said, as a spectator, as a normal human being, this infuriated me. Because, like I said, there's people out there that spend years trying to figure out what's going on with them. And, you know, it's painful. it's really painful to go those years without an answer, without, like I said, a face or name for the demon. And then when you finally get the answer, it doesn't make it better, but at least you have a name for it. Like one of my favorite YouTubers or Twitch streamers is Sweet Anita. And when she was telling her story on how she was diagnosed with Tourette's, with a very severe form of Tourette's, I believe her form is actually rare because she has the symptom of Tourette's that makes you say things. I think it's called coprolalia, where, you just say things. It's not always profanities and bad things. It's just you say things that you don't intend to say. Her story, it broke my heart because she went a long time without a diagnosis, and she was so defeated at one point because, she didn't have a name for it. She didn't have an explanation for it, and it was kind of relieving for her when she finally could say, hey, I have Tourette's. It's kind of like with me, how, when I have a manic episode, because that comes with borderline personality disorder, you're kind of balancing between reality and psychosis. And it's a fine line to balance. And it's horrifying when you see these people with the severe case of it go into a manic episode. And it's not always suicidal. It's not always sad. It's not angry. Like my manic episodes, a lot of them are where I'm just on this high, where I'm so happy. And everyone around me knows now that it's a manic episode, because it is. Not to say that I don't ever have like really bad depressed manic episodes or angry manic episodes, but they're not so stereotypical where you think manic, you think, like really depressed, really angry. And it was relieving when people around me finally knew what was going on, because I'm not crazy, I'm not overreacting. That's just, it's me, and it's not going to go away. Though my doctors have worked really hard to help me with therapy and, a medication regimen to help stabilize me. And the fact that she is going on Google, Dr. Google, and pulling up the most blasé misinformation she can to, relate to, or tell you that she has this because of this, and, no formal diagnosis, but she's famous relatively, so she must know what she's doing. And it's just not the case. And just the fact that she's trying to profit, marginalize these groups is disgusting. And I haven't been a big fan of her for a while, just because she's been on this downward spiral for a few years. I couldn't support her anymore because she's not the, the funny person that I remember. She's just attention seeking by any means she possibly can. And it's sad. And I know she says she struggled with substance abuse and this and that, which, if those videos were her when she had the substance abuse problems, I'm glad she's not that way anymore. Like, more power to you. I wouldn't say go back to that, because it's not healthy. But what you're doing now, what she's doing now, isn't healthy by any means, and it's offensive. It makes me want to cry, because these people go through hell. I'm going to say hell. They go through hell to figure out what's wrong with them. And a lot of people are demonized for it, are made a spectacle of, because of how erratic they can behave. Like I was made a spectacle of because of my erratic, irrational behavior. And at the time, had I known that there was something genuinely wrong with me, at least I would have been able to say, I'm so sorry. Like, it's not an excuse, but there's something wrong with me. And I'm sure these people that have d.i.d. Or are trans, even, the Black community, don't want to be marginalized and made a spectacle of so she can get some more fame, so she can rake in the money from it. It's disgusting. If she was truly that concerned about it, why don't you take the profits you're getting from those videos and donate them for further research? Because, from what I've seen and in my personal opinion, all these things are underfunded, and we don't necessarily understand a lot of them. But, why don't you just fess up, say you're sorry, and stop doing this toxic, nasty cycle of marginalizing minorities so you can get some clout, so you can get some fame or more fame, because I don't want to say a household name, but you pretty much are. She's a household name, at least for the younger generation, because I'm not old. I'm 24. So I've been watching her since I was about 14, 15. And I've just not seen anything healthy come from her. Like, I don't even think she fully supports women like she should. And the things she does, in my opinion, aren't healthy for young women at all, younger generation, like teenagers. She's not anything that they should be watching, because she's not a healthy human being. And I don't mean like weight-wise, like I'm not going to judge because I'm overweight. It's not even a weight thing. It's, if you're not mentally healthy, you should not be influencing people, because you, in my opinion, would be a danger to society. And I still think she's a danger to society because she has not gotten a formal diagnosis. In my opinion, and this is solely my opinion and just my years of what I've gone through, I think she does have some mental health issues she really needs to focus on and get help for. And that's not anything mean. Like, normal people have problems. I have problems. But the difference is that I'm not making a video on it to marginalize. I go out and get help because I want to be a better human being. I want to be the best me I can be. And for her to just degrade, like, it was degrading, because that poor woman from the UK, she's not crazy. She has a disorder. That doesn't make her crazy. What makes, in my opinion, what would make somebody crazy? Going online in front of a mass amount of people, claiming you have a disorder that you don't, claiming that you're transgender when you're not, and claiming that you're Black when you're not. That to me sounds pretty crazy. Like, normal people don't do that. Normal people don't try to act like they have a problem with them, because a lot of these people that do have these problems, and I'm going to speak from my own experience, I don't want this. If I could go back and, if I could have a choice, I wouldn't want my disorder, but I have it, and it's part of me, and it is what it is. But I make strides to make myself better. I go to therapy. I take, medications. Not saying that everybody needs medication, but you know what? If it helps, by God, do it. Like, I personally take Seroquel, which is a mood stabilizer or an antipsychotic. They don't like calling it an antipsychotic. It has been classified as a mood stabilizer. They do off-label prescribe it for people with insomnia. That's not good. If you are one of those people, you need to talk to your doctor, because it can actually lead to some severe problems down the road. I digress. Those videos need to be removed. She needs to apologize. And if she can't take criticism, this isn't the place for her. It's a world of technology, and you have a world of information at your fingertips. And if you can't use that for good, then you shouldn't be influencing people. Because you're going to have some poor little girl with d.i.d, with, or poor, I shouldn't even say little girl, just poor person, poor little kid with a disorder, with, body dysmorphia, with anything. And you're going to make them think that they're crazy for it, or that, you can self-diagnose it and that's good enough, which can lead to severe consequences. Because if it goes untreated, you can do awful things to yourself, and it can put you at a really low point. Like I attempted the S word multiple times because I felt so nuts. I just felt nuts. I felt like I wasn't in control of myself. And that's part of it, where you don't feel like you're in control. And had it gone untreated for the remainder of my life, I don't know what I would have done. That's my spiel, though. And whomever watches this, thanks for watching. Again, I'm a nobody, but I don't really mind. But I sincerely think if Trisha Paytas ever sees this, which I doubt, but hey, you're still open, you need to remove those videos. You need to apologize for the communities you've hurt and harmed. And you need to tell the younger people, anybody that watches you, to not do what you do. Because it's dangerous and it's toxic. And you're just a bad influence. And I really hope that you get it figured out and that you change for the better, because what you're doing now is dangerous and it's just bad. But that's my spiel again. I don't know what else to say. If anybody sees this and wants a more in-depth video on borderline personality disorder, I would happily do one. Because it's hard to diagnose, first off, and if you have something to reference to, take to your physician, I'd be happy to help. Cancer, got that too. Breast cancer, so if you need any information or, want to run down on what happened with me while I was, going through chemotherapy because I was really young, a diagnosis, I was 21. Happily would do a video on information for that. These are really crappy videos because I am not a YouTuber, not a vlogger. I'm not really a social media anything other than a normal human being. But yeah, if you want any information on that, well, let me know. But I just really, really needed to say these things. Don't know why, but I felt the ungodly desire to voice my opinion on this because these social media influencers need to stop. They need to stop. They need to. They have to. And YouTube really needs to do something about it because they are becoming toxic to everybody around them. And it's just sad. And I'm truly, truly disappointed because she has such a large following that she's not influencing in the best ways. And it's just scary. So, peace out. Bye.